Welcome everyone to the webcast. We are live, and we've got a new format here because I'm trying a few different things, as the fact of the matter is that I'm now sitting in my big comfy chair in my office at home. So welcome to the project management webcast, and we have a few visitors here today, and so I will get them to introduce themselves and say hello in a second. But until that time, I'd like to see how quick this machine works, and I'd like to introduce the fact that we are currently in the weekly webcast. So thank you everyone for showing up, and we will talk a little bit about our courses and take you for a little tour of the courses, and I'm going to try some of the features that we have here and do some screen sharing. But down on the bottom I have a few visitors here. I hope I don't say your name wrong. It's Varun, I think. I would like you to introduce yourself, tell us who you are and how you found out about our courses. And I noticed that you did go through our course and you did give some feedback as to some of the things that need to get better in it, and that's what I expect from everyone who is part of our course. Our courses, please share and help, and we'll make it better as a community. So good morning and welcome to our webcast, Varun.
Thank you very much, and you did spell it and pronounce it right. My name is Varun, and I am from India. I have experience in information technology industry. I worked 4 years in Cognizant Technology Solutions as a programmer analyst. Post that, I came to Canada and I did my MBA from the Schulich School of Business, York University. So I graduated last year. And I started working with the York University itself. There is an engineering college, the Lassonde School of Engineering. So I work with their research team currently. And there's this guy called Mr. G.V. Shankar, who is a friend of Jason Trach. And he wants to involve me in some of his work with project management. Although I took the project management course in Schulich School of Business, but he wanted me to gain more information on project management, and so he got me introduced to Mr. Trach, and he wanted me to take the course, and that's how I came to know about that course. And I started just about a couple of weeks back. I got in touch with Brenda, who gave me the steps to register and then start on the course.
Well, that's very nice. Thank you very much. So you're telling us you're in Ontario at the moment?
Sorry?
Are you in Ontario at York University in Toronto?
Yeah, I am in Toronto right now, and I am working with York University and staying on campus right now.
So is it raining?
It was yesterday. It was a bit in today morning, but it's not right now.
That's York University. I used to go to Brock University when I was growing up, and so Ontario is my stomping ground, and my sister still lives in Toronto, so I get out there every so often. I love the campus that you're on, and I welcome you to the webcast, and feel free to pipe in or ask any questions that you wish. So thank you very much for saying hello. Brenda, good morning. Brenda is the office coordinator at NextLev. She is actually sitting in the office, and so she is a weekly visitor who is always here. She tends not to say a lot, but I just wanted to acknowledge the fact that she is actually here. And then Jackson, the silent but stoic doctor of mathematics, is also here as well, and is totally terrified that I'm going to bombard him with 1,000,001 questions. So he has turned off his mic already to make sure that I don't ask him a whole pile of questions. So relax, Jackson. I'm not going to ask you a whole pile of questions. Thank you for showing up, and I appreciate the viewership. So I notice we have an external viewer, so whoever's outside there, welcome. Feel free to join us sometime in the actual simulcast if you want, but I'm going to now go to something and try a few different things here to see how quick our connection is and see whether or not we can actually talk a little bit and share some information. So now I'm going to take my ugly mug off the screen, and we're going to go to a screen share. So the screen share system inside the Google Hangouts allows us to share what we see on our computer. So I'm hoping that what you guys will see on the computer at the moment is our website. And so those of you who I can see on the screen on the bottom there, please nod up and down if you see that, just so that I know that you've got it. And Brenda's nodding, which means good, it's coming across. So what you're looking at now is our new improved website. And the new improved website, as you can see my mouse move around it, I'm hoping you can see that, the details on your screen. We are NextLev Solutions, Inc., and this is our project management course website. on here, what we did on our new website is we tried to give you access to the 3 main things that you'll probably do within our courses, and also an area where you can log into the courses. So there's a login button here that if you click on it, it will ask you for your username and password, and then we'll take you into the courses. It also allows you to register for different courses, and then it also shows you the different courses. So if I click on the word courses here, you can see the 3 different courses that we offer. And so Varun was talking about the fundamentals course before we started here, and what he was talking about is how the fundamental course is different than the associate course and different than the professional course. Each one of these are different in price, one thing, and also in the content. The biggest course that we have and the most complete course we have is a professional one that's on the bottom, and it's going to cost you more than the fundamentals course. The fundamentals course is meant to be for a person who's just trying to tune up their expertise or their knowledge on project management, and so it talks briefly about all the different things that Jason has learned about project management. It doesn't do any massive testing in there. It does have a few assignments that allows you to work offline and to learn a little bit more about project management fundamentals. Now, the people who would probably benefit the most from this type of course are the office people, the people who are not actually in the field doing project management but would like to know a little bit more about the language and how to talk about project management, and the person who's just a little bit more curious about it and may use it in their own private life. The associate course is a little bit more complex. It starts to have some testing in it, and it starts to give you a little bit more feedback and will allow you to pursue the CAPM certification from Project Management Institution. If it's something that you would like to do as a career, and it's something that you would like to be able to say, I have my CAPM certification as you're applying for a job, this would be a better course to take. Now, the pinnacle of the courses that we have is the professional course, and that allows you to apply or hopefully gain your PMP certification. We don't give you any guarantee that this is all you need, because in order to be a PMP, you need to have a lot of other things other than just the theory and the knowledge of the material. So you have to have some other criteria that if you go to the Project Management Institution, they'll explain what exactly you need. But it's for the senior people in the office, or the people who are actually the leaders in your project management, the person who's going to coordinate other workers in the company. And so the professional one is a very comprehensive course. It gives you as much information as you possibly can. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back to the home page here, and let's go into the login page, and we'll click on that, and it will take you right into the Project Professional course. Now, the Project Professional course that you're looking at now, hopefully it's come up on your screen. This is the design of our page. We're using a learning management system, which is Moodle. And those of you who are not Noodle, not the stuff that you eat, but actual Moodle. Moodle is an open source learning management system that allows people to use a whole pile of different tools in order to make courses a little bit more interactive. Now, the way we've designed our courses, there's a two-prong approach to it. A person who is not linear in their approach to learning is going to find this chart at the very beginning of the course to be very useful. These are the elements that are going to be taught. There's a whole pile of different knowledge areas that you need to be concerned with and you need to learn when you're talking about project management. And we put them in a grid like this that explains under integration, there's these 5 different elements that you have to work on. Those 5 elements, if you click on any one of these links, it will take you directly to them. So if you're talking about scope, for instance, and you want to plan scope management, you can actually navigate the course through this chart. So you notice how I clicked on the plan scope management, it takes you directly to that area. Then within the area, we have a whole pile of different things that will help you to be successful in that element of the course. And I'll just back up here a little bit because I'll make it a little bit easier for you to understand. This part that I'm clicking across the top here where it says Home, Course, Next Lev, PMP, and then Unit 6 Planning, these are what they call breadcrumbs. These are breadcrumbs within a learning management system, and they allow you to navigate around and find out where you were and how to go back to the areas that you've been in previous. So it's almost like leaving breadcrumbs in the forest so you can find your way back. The nice thing about this navigation system is it allows you to very quickly move around. Now this chart that you see, you'll notice at the bottom it's only showing us a part of the Unit 6 because that was the last place that we had gone into when we talked about the planning. Now let's talk about the linear method of going through the course. If you look at the part that clicked up on the right hand side here, you can see the Next Lev PMP course is set up by units. Each one of the units is laid out on the side. You see Unit 2, Unit 3, Unit 4, Unit 5, Unit 6, Unit 7, Unit 8, Unit 9. And so then this is a linear method of going through the course. So if you go through the course in a linear fashion, you can step by step go through each one of them. And I'll show you how that also looks as I move back one step. So this is the home page or the course start, and you can see we have the grid that would allows you to move around in a haphazard fashion or in a non-linear fashion, and then we have the linear fashion down below that. So you have Unit 2, Unit 3, Unit 4, and so on all the way through each one of the steps. And so it allows you to step by step figure out how you're going to move through the course. The introduction to the course is always the best place to start, obviously, because it introduces you to the course. And what it does there is it also shows you the table of contents and the process that you move through. It talks about who Jason is. It asks people to explain who they are, and then it talks about the background of the course, and then it starts talking about project management. What is project management, the project framework, and the project group definitions, and then the chart, and then so on. The chart is the one that you see at the top of the page that allows you to just work through it. And then you'll see all these little indicators with a check mark on them. Anytime you see a check mark, that's an actual test. It's a self-test which you can take over and over again until you learn the material. Our philosophy on assessment within a course is that quizzes aren't meant to be an assessment model until the very end. Each one of these quizzes you can take over and over again until you actually understand the material. The nice thing about that is that if you are going through the course and you take this first test, let's say, the process cycle, and you go in there and you take the test and you fail it, you can take it again, and you can take it again, and you can take it again until you get it right. And each time you do that, we see that as a learning process rather than an assessment process. The marks are recorded, but we never ever look at them because they don't mean anything to us as far as what we're looking at. The only test that means anything is the one at the very end, where we will give you the Next Lev professional certification, and you get that by making sure you pass that final exam with a 70% or higher. And so each one of these tests will prepare you for that final quiz, which in the end will give you your certification from us, or your certificate. So if I go back to the process, I can show you what I mean by that. The final goal is that you want to get through all of this material. You get to the final exam, which is this one down at the end, and you have to get 70% or higher. And so here it is, your final quiz, and on here you can see all the answer keys to all the other off-site, not off-site, but off-computer assignments. So you'll notice in Unit 6 they start, and in Unit 6.4 these are the answers to the questions that you'll find in Unit 6.4. And then there's also a few other things here that you can see, a book of checklists. You see the final quiz, and the final quiz is a fairly big quiz and will take probably 2 hours or 3 hours to do. Lots and lots of material there just to help you, well, just to show that you understand what project management is all about. So when you walk away from this, you have something that's of value. At the very bottom, we have a few other cool options, and this one is a course book, and this is the whole book that you can then print off and use once your 95 days inside the course expires. Then you still have a record of the material, so you can go back and refer to that if you want. We've also included a whole book of checklists. The book of checklists are all the different checklists that you'll find within the course, to allow you to use, and these, anytime you see this book symbol, that means you can print it off and you can use it at once the course has expired. So you can save it as a PDF or actually print it off. Okay, so let's go back into the course here and talk a little bit about some of the elements of the course. So here I am, I'm walking through the course. I'm into the chapter 2, chapter 3. Let's talk about introduction again. The introduction, you have all the different elements here as you're working through it. What is project management? Project framework. Let's start talking about that. So here's the first actual, the way your assignments or your material is given to you. It starts off at most learning management courses, depending on what level of course they are, will have a lot of text. So you have to be able to read English and you have to be able to comprehend that. And so they're set up with boxes and different colored boxes and different elements at the top so that you can figure out what each one of them pertain to. Anytime you see the one that says media, that means it's material that we've created ourselves in order to enhance the course. This is Jason Tratch talking, and so this will be a short video that talks about the project framework, and it will be him talking in front of a whiteboard and possibly some other elements attached to it, and they're all meant to be very short videos, about 2 to 3 minutes long, which will just enhance the text that you'll be reading. Inside the text, you'll see a lot of links. These are not links to outside material. If we link to outside material, we'll put them inside a box. What this is, it just talks about the different elements of a course. So if I click on one of these, that's an actual glossary entry. And what will end up happening is it'll click up a quick little definition that explains something about what you clicked on. So you're talking about project. So the definition of a project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique project, service, or result. And so each one of the links that you see here, so if you want to talk about organizations, it'll come up with a definition of an organization. If you want to talk about something else, then it'll be linked all the way through the project. Then what we try to do is, if you can't laugh, then you've got a problem, and that's where we try to put a little bit of humor into the course. And one of the best guys who talk about project management is Dilbert. And so Dilbert, we've got links to the Dilbert site, dilbert.com, and some of his cartoons all through the course. The navigational features that you'll see on the bottom right hand corner, where you see the little blue house there and the little arrows, will allow you to actually click through the course simply by clicking on a button. So you'll notice as I highlight, put my mouse over top of the next activity, it'll tell you what we're looking at, and that's the next activity is 3.5.1, which is a lack of planning, and what you'll do is it'll take you to that, and it'll show you again inside the box the media, and then you have a cartoon and a little bit of a image at the top, because a picture is worth 1,000 words. And so we tried to make the course as intense as we can with as many images as we can throughout it. One of the things that our guest today, Varun, has done for us is, as he went through the course, he's made some suggestions on how to make it better, which is what we want everyone who's involved in our course to always do, is then that share the information or share their opinions on the things they're looking at, because it makes things stronger for us and it makes it stronger for the next student that takes it. Here's a different colored box that we haven't seen yet. This allows us to link to objects on the World Wide Web. One of the things that a lot of people try to do when they're doing online courses is create everything themselves, which in my mind is a total waste of energy, because the World Wide Web is a vast fountain of knowledge, or a vast storehouse of knowledge that has everything you could possibly think of out there and all the knowledge you can possibly want. And so what we did is, inside any of these orange boxes, we linked you to other project management people in the world that have put together videos or have put together some sort of information that would enhance your knowledge of the project. These are all links that have been vetted by Jason Tratch. He's looked through them and has decided that yes, that's one that he would like to include in his course. He likes the way it's explained. It's explained a little differently than the way he would explain it, and so we tried to bring in some very cool links from outside in the World Wide Web to make our courses a little stronger. So as you go through the course, you're going to find some of those. What we've just moved into here is the first quiz, and you can see the way the quiz is set up. You 3.53 at process cycle. This is a quiz, and it says grading method is the highest grade, and you can attempt the quiz now. When you attempt the quiz, what it does is it just goes in, and a lot of our quizzes, and the reasons why you may want to take a quiz more than once, is it's based on a data bank of questions. So you'll notice this quiz has 6 different questions in it. Each one of the questions will be different each time you take it. So we're trying to get more and more questions, and we will continue to write those over the next year or so that when you take this quiz, even though there's only 6 questions in it, there'll be a different 6 questions each time you take it. And that's a mastery approach to learning the content. So here you have to label this diagram, and this diagram you may have recognized from one of the pages we were on, and then you can choose all the different labels that should go on this. So I'm hoping that number 1 there would be initiating, and then number 2, let's say that's the planning stage, 3 is processing, level 4, and I'm just guessing on these because I don't want to take the time. So you do all of that, and then you go to the next question. The next question comes up. On the questions, you have a lot of different choices. There's multiple choice, there's fill in the blank, there's select multiple answers to a question, there's true and false, there's short answers, there's paragraph questions. All the way through this course, there's very few essay questions, and there's very few elements that will be anything other than a quick click on this or click on that. So we didn't ask you to write novels or anything like that. Anytime we asked you to do essay work, it always went to an off-site or off-computer assignment that you will then do at your desk with a pen and a piece of paper, and that's the answers that I showed you in chapter 11. So just quickly going through a few more of these pages, you'll notice this page here, we have Jason Tratch talking at the top. If you go to the bottom, you have the WW links, and then you also have your little bit of a humor at the bottom of it once you've done your quiz. The quizzes aren't timed, by the way. But as I'm clicking through this, this is one of the first off-site assignments, and this is a crossword puzzle that allows you to just work. So you can actually print this off if you want. It's a project management crossword puzzle, and when you click on this, it should come up as a PDF. There it is, and then you can print this off, and then you can do it at your desk or wherever you would like when you're bored and you don't have access to your computer, but you still would like to learn something. So a lot of the assignments are set up that way that will allow you to work off-site. And when I say off-site, I mean someplace other than on your computer. One of the mistakes that I think people make when they design courses is they tend to think that everything has to be done online and has to be done on the computer. And the nicest thing about an online course is the flexibility and the ability to work not only in a single location, but at a different time, wherever you want, however you want. And so we try to incorporate that in some of your courses. So here's another feature here. This is another part of the course, and this allows you to do project management knowledge area. It's an actual test, or sorry, game that is part of the course that will allow you just to play a little bit. So it's fairly exciting, and it will show you a quick little video here of Jason da-da-da-da. And if you skip that, then it asks you what he was talking about. So what does STC stand for? It's scope, time, and cost. I know this, so when I click it, it gets all excited and gives me some points, and then I look really good. And then it gives you the next video and so on. So it's just a game that you can play that enhances your learning, because there's nothing worse than just reading all the time. I would like to show you one other feature of this course before we move on. There is an area in here that we call the games room. The games room is meant to be an area where you can go into and continually work in these different games that you'll find. And there's crosswords in here, there's Sudokus, there's snakes and ladders, there's hangman, and there's the game called Millionaire. And we all know what the Millionaire game is like. And so if you'd like to attempt the game, it's exactly like the Millionaire game. It asks you the questions, and then it gives you the different scores on the right-hand side until you win $1 million, and you have your different choices of 50-50, your phone call, and then the help of people. And so these are all games that just make the course a little bit more interactive and a little bit more fun to work on. And so that's a quick review of what our courses are like and why our courses are a little different than what you'll find a lot of the manuals where you read the material, take a test, and hope you pass. type of course. We try to make them as interactive as we possibly can. This webcast is another element that we tried to incorporate and tried to include in our courses, because if you have any questions about the courses, then you should come visit us on the webcast and then be able to chat and share and ask questions. Unlike what I did our guest today, where I just never let him talk or anyone else talk. I just babbled the whole time. And so we will take this off of screen share here for a second. And it's me again. My face is back. So I would just like to ask anyone if you have any questions or anything you would like me to reiterate or say again. Is there any questions from the group? Any questions? Any questions? As he waits, this is what teachers do. They sit here and they go, any questions? And then you're supposed to pause. So. Just kills people, when you have just dead silence. Okay, there you go. There's no questions. So you guys, thank you very much for coming to the simulcast. Just a minute. We're going to listen to the... We're almost at the end here, and so I would just like to again thank all the visitors, and make sure, Varun, you come back as often as you can, because we always like to have the input. And thank you very much for giving us some tips on things that you found that were not very good in the course. We do not claim to be perfect. We will always strive for that, but we will continue to fix these things within our course. So continue to give us that feedback, and thank you for visiting. Is there any last words you'd like to say, Varun? And
I just wanted to ask one thing.
Of course.
How much effort do you think, if I finish all these courses with the final exam and score a 70% and go for a PMP certification, how much of an effort beyond this course do you think it requires, or is it sufficient enough to write the PMP straight away?
It will prepare you very well, but that's one of the hardest questions that we get asked, and it's a very good question. And the reason why it's a good question is it depends on what you've done in your past. Some people come in very well equipped and have done a fairly sequential approach to their method of working in whatever construction area or whatever they're working in, and have some PMP background before they get there. So depending on what sort of expertise you had before you got here, determines how good you're going to do on the course that the Project Management Institute will ask you. So what we have tried to do is all our questions that we have are built around the approach that the Project Management Institution uses in their exam. And so the course structure, not the course structure, but the question structure that we use is very similar to theirs. The material that we have is basically the information that you're going to be asked on that test. So determining how well you do on our exam will determine how well you're going to do on the other one, but you may need to do a little bit more other research or other work in order to prepare yourself. Now, one of the things that Jason Trotch is very nicely stated was that he will help anybody going through that process. So if it's something that you're thinking about doing, is getting your PMP, and you need some assistance or something like that, just drop us an email. And as we're still small enough, we will continue to help people as much as we possibly can in preparing them for that event. And part of that would be to take the final exam in our course more than once, because in that test bank that we have now, I think we're getting close to 300 questions. You have to take 100 questions, I think, for our final exam. And if you keep taking that test 2, 3, 4 times, then you're going to get all of those different questions that will allow you to prepare yourself. We are thinking about writing a course that is just called Project PMP quiz preparation, and it'll be designed around the SAT approach. Down in the States, there's a lot of online courses that prepare you for the SAT exams down in the States, and we will build a course on that philosophy and try to make it a little bit easier for people to pass that exam. But this course just sort of gives you the information. Our professional course gives you the information and prepares you somewhat for that exam. It doesn't prepare you completely for that exam. That would be a false statement if we stated that. It sort of gets you ready, and depending on what you've done in your past will determine whether or not you can actually pass that exam.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Brenda, any questions before we sign off?
No, Darren, I'm good, thank you.
Okay, I hope that the sharing worked well, and so I hope you got a little bit of a glimpse into the way the course was designed and what's in there. And now we're going to ask the Doctor of Math, Mr. Jackson. I see you sat there very stoically and listened to what was going on. What did you think?
It's cool that we actually have more questions now.
That's good. Save them up, and we will bring them up in our next cast. So I'm happy that you have some questions, and this is what this webcast is all about. Is it shows people how the courses are designed and how we set them up, and how we're going to continue to progress and move forward and make them better. So. Thank you, you guys. I don't want this cast to go over 30 minutes. So, again, I appreciate it. Thanks again for showing up, you guys. And we will be here again next week. Hopefully same time, same place. Same bat channel.